Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Legacy Wealth Talk, where we can all be open to important conversation regarding love, happiness, well-being, relationship, and wealth. My name is Nomsa Clara Mnube. I am the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the co-founder of Legacy Wealth Talk. With me today, I have Dr. Bigot, our guest panelist, and I also have who, how do I pronounce your surname?
No,
Patricia?
Namsa, you should know now. We've done enough interviews together. It's Nweke.
Eh?
Nweke.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit like your name, like no, actually, you don't have the sound, but it's kind of like a silent N.
Mweke, now I know. Now
Nweke.
you've
Yes.
explained, now I know.
Yes.
So I'm going to let our experts introduce themselves and also they can lay out their professional credentials and expertise. Over to you, Dr. Bigot, please.
Thank you, Numsa. Thank you. Lovely to be with you today. And thank you very much for having me today. I am Birgit Tan, and I am based in Los Angeles, and I am a grief transformation and life success speaker, author, and coach. My specialty is in helping people thrive through tough times and win with more ease and fun.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot, and I'm sorry to wake you up. It is 5 a.m. in Los Angeles, is it?
It is. It is.
I'm sorry to wake you up.
Well, early bird catch the worm, right?
Ihu,
Yeah.
over to you, please.
Okay, well, thank you for having me today, Nomsa. My name is Ihunweke, and I am the founder of an organization called Cedar Cube, which works towards family and couple restoration. I also have a fashion brand called Eye Collection, and I'm a procurement consultant. So that's me in summary.
Congratulations. I saw you on the top magazines this week. I'm really proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
To be sharing this experience with you, just to show that I've made the right decision to put you in my tribe.
Absolutely.
Yes, so that's amazing.
Thank you.
So our topic today is how to build the unshakable resilience. So I'm gonna start with you, Ihu.
Mm-hmm.
What key points can you give to help one have unshakable resilience? If I want to build unshakable resilience, can you give us some key points, please?
Okay, for me, I think first of all, we need to recognize that life can get tough. There are always ups and downs in life, and that's just the way it is. Some years are worse than others. 2020, and we just need to be able to have that inbuilt resilience within us, first of all. So for me, I think, the way you can have unshakable resilience, no matter what the season is doing, or no matter what the year is doing, first of all, is to have a very strong understanding of who you are. First of all, who are you? And who have you been called to serve? And that will, and also to understand why certain things are happening to you and why you're doing certain things. And I think having an understanding why would help you to put things in perspective and to know that even if you're going through a painful experience, that painful experience is not a waste because it will be used, for example, to serve people who may be going through the same painful experience as you. And many times, a very hard and painful experience is a little bit like a training ground because you cannot serve people unless you've actually gone through a certain experience. So it's just having that understanding of why, and also having an understanding that nothing is permanent. There's always seasons. And I call it seasons and reasons. There's seasons and reasons for things. So there's always season. And the Bible says, in Ecclesiastes, it says, and why, good old wise Solomon, saying in everything there is a season. There's a time to live and a time to die. There's a time to plant and a time to sow. And if we understand this, that our life goes through seasons, then we can really weather the storm better.
Wow. That's powerful. That was really, really powerful. I got this, who have I been called to be?
Yeah.
That is amazing. And the season as well, just to understand that there's a season, there's a time for everything, to plant a seed, to understand the temporal defeat, that there's nothing permanent. Thank you so much, Eva. That is really, really powerful, because there are some people who, when they go through something, they are like, why me? So Les Brown said, who do you suggest? So thank you so much for that.
That's okay.
Appreciate, that's powerful.
That's fine.
So Dr. Biggett, I'm gonna come to you. What are the benefits of being more resilient?
Thank you, Numsa. So there are a few benefits of being more resilient. And the number one benefit is when we are more resilient, we will actually be able to succeed more in the long run and sooner as well. There is a study recently by one of the major publications that shows that one of the key components for everyone who is highly successful is to be able to be resilient, because life is life. And life gives us feedback. And usually those feedback comes in a form that feels like failure. And so if we want to be able to be successful, we want to be able to say, okay, I got feedback and I got feedback that I don't like, but I'm going to take the steps to bounce back and be more resilient to do it again and again and again and learn from it each time. And when we do that, we can steer through challenges, whatever the challenges it is, and then be able to bounce back, overcome it sooner, and then be able to succeed.
Thank you so much. Life give us feedback. That is powerful as well, because, you know, in life, we go through so many challenges, and sometimes, you know, the world can be against us. It can be a good place in the world, but then we can see it as it's against us because there's so much negativity. So it's how, when you say, it's how we respond to that. And basically, like what Ihu was saying, that who are you called to be? And realizing when things are getting tougher, that who am I called to be? And how am I responding to this world that is giving me feedback? And it's just amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. And Dr. Ihu, do we need to have more resilience, especially considering all that have been happening this year with the unseen virus? It's been so much going on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, resilience is in different formats, okay? So we're tripartite beings. We're flesh, we're spirit, and we're soul, okay? And we need to, our soul controls our thinking, our will, and our emotions. So we need to be resilient in our emotions and our thinking, okay? We also need to be resilient in our flesh, which, you know, that's where we're talking about in terms of COVID-19 and being resilient to diseases. And we need to be resilient spiritually. Now, there is no better time to be resilient in all three aspects than now. We really need to be resilient, and that's why it's better to just live a resilient life, so that when things happen, it's a bit like a rubber ball, isn't it? A rubber ball which is hard for things to penetrate inside, and it can also bounce. It can also bounce back and be flexible and bounce in different ways and move in different directions. So we need to have that inbuilt resilience. And yes, I do think we need to be more resilient now, but you don't just build that resilience right now, because you prepare for war before war, don't you? You don't prepare for war on the day of war, do you? Because you're going to fail, right? So we need to just have a habit of living a resilient life. And like I said, if you ask me a question later, I'll answer that. But yes, your answer is yes. Yes, we do need to be more resilient now, but we should have been preparing for something like this before now. We should have just made it our lifestyle.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's when you say we need to be prepared, I think that is true, because you know, life is a journey. I always say to myself when things go wrong, or when I'm stuck, basically, you know, when you are stuck, there's something that you are like, wow. I always say life is a journey and I'm finding myself. So how can I find myself? It's like this morning I wanted to do something, but I was stuck. And then this girl, she calls me. So I look at my phone, I was really, really busy. I look at my phone, I was like, I'm really busy right now. And then something in my mind says, answer it. So she was basically coming to solve my problem. She was basically coming in to solve the problem that I was stuck and I didn't know. Yeah. And as we were talking through the conversation, and I mentioned, I said to her, through the COVID-19, I've been struggling with this. And she was like, okay, I can help you with that. Straight away, within like 5 minutes, everything was sorted out. So I think we need to be prepared, because like what you both were saying, the world is responding to us. It is how we respond to the world. And you touched about the positivity, about knowing who we are called to be on this earth. So we need to actually be prepared. Some things, for some people, it might be tough, actually. So I'm gonna go to Bigot before we can come out of, because you've touched something, before we come out of this question. If those who are finding it tough, so how can they actually find strength and hope to actually, because it's all about baby steps. Like Ihu was saying, we need to be prepared. But some people might say, no, Ihu, you don't understand what I'm going through. And right now with the coronavirus, I'm going through tough times and you're telling me to be prepared. So how can we be prepared, Dr. Ihu, Dr. Bigot?
I received it. I'm now a doctor. Thank you. You prophesied into my life.
Yes. Baby step. How can we do the baby step that can give us hope, strength, basically to go on and to get that breakthrough?
Yes. Thank you, Numsa. Thank you. Absolutely. Yes. And it is, I love what Ihu says, to understand who we are and to also understand that things happen for a reason. But sometimes, like you said, Numsa, you can say, yeah, I understand things happen for reasons, but by now, I don't care about anybody else, and I don't even care about me, and I barely want to go on. And when we're really in a tough time, what I call we're really deep in the ditch, so to say. And what can we do? A few things that I find very helpful with that. The first things is to remember that you are a resilience being, like Ihu says. Well, all of us actually built like a rubber ball. Just remember, how many times have you gone through adversities? How many times have you fallen down? Most of us right now know how to walk. Perhaps we have some challenge that make us not walking right now, but most of us know how to walk, and many of us even know how to run. Were you born when you came out of the womb? Were you born walking and running? No, you did not. You learn to walk by falling over and over and over again. So apparently as adults, we all know how to be resilient and to get back up even after we fall down. So just to remember how resilient you are. And then perhaps there are other events in your life that you feel that you have received negative feedback, that you failed, that things didn't work out as well as you would love it to be. And then you're still here and you're still going. And in many cases, perhaps you even have naysayers and you still succeed. And just to remember all those, even write down in a little card that you can go back to from time to time, how resilient you are, how resilient you already are. And so this is just another one of those moments, no different than when you were a baby and learning how to walk. And then the other things that help being resilient is to be grateful. To be grateful for two things, I would say. To be grateful for the things that's still good. Perhaps you have a goal that it doesn't come through, but the fact that you are able to have internet and to be able to watch this on how to be more resilient is something to be grateful about. And then to be grateful for what I call grateful for the sprout. And grateful for the sprout is a lot of time we have a big goal or an achievement or something that we would love to be. And we seems like it's not coming. It's not, we're doing it and it's not working out. It's not working out. And at the same time, we forgot that we might make a tiny little improvement, baby steps, like you both ladies says, you know, and so to celebrate and be grateful for these little baby steps, little thing. Oh, yay, today, even though I don't feel so great, I get myself out of bed and make a phone call and celebrate that and be grateful for that, the steps that we did. And then the last thing, the other thing is to change our perceptions on things. And we can say, this is a disaster, this is a crisis, or a crisis in Mandarin language actually is a combination of two words, which is danger and opportunity. So we have a crisis. Yes, we're not Pollyannas. We acknowledge that this is not an unpleasant thing, but also to realize that in whatever unpleasant lies an opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm keeping this where you said a baby step. Think about baby step. We were not born walking. So every time I'm falling, I'm gonna just say, Nomsa, remember, you were not born walking. Get up. Thank you so much. That is so powerful. And it's a tool that you can actually implant it in your mind and just keep saying it over and over when you are faced with challenges in life. Like right now, there are so many people who are faced with the challenges, with the companies are going bust and marriages are breaking up basically because of people being stuck at home with this virus. And the schools, they're having challenges because the children have missed out at school, so they are having to actually pick up the pieces. So thank you so much for that. I hope people are listening and they are taking notes. So Ihu, what if I don't have that belief to think that I can grow and learn? So what advice can you give someone who doesn't have beliefs that, okay, all these resilience, the tips and everything, but I don't believe in this way. So what advice can you give?
Well, for that is difficult, and maybe, who knows, maybe it's because of experiences that person has gone through and things have not worked out, and then that's why they have adopted a cynical view of life. And then some people are just more pessimistic than others. That's just their personality. For these people, I would adopt some of the steps that Dr. Bridget has mentioned, which are take baby steps, because that person just needs to build a little bit more belief in themselves and also in the world outside. So take baby steps. Congratulate yourself for little things that you've done. You know, even if it's managing, even though you feel like you don't want to talk to anyone, making that phone call to a friend that you haven't spoken to for a long time is an achievement. Say, I congratulate myself for doing this. Celebrate your little wins. Yes, okay, that's fine. I'm going to have a little ice cream because I've done this, so I'm going to do this. So, just little things, celebrate your little wins. Okay, so, just take it easy on yourself. Like, don't overload yourself with so many things. Have maybe 3 or 4 key tasks that you want to achieve. And sometimes, because I do this conference called Building the Excellent Family I started last year. I'm going to do it again this year in November. And we had Philip Chan, who is the #1 10-second maths expert in the world. So he can help anyone with maths in 10 seconds. And that's his claim. And one of the things, goals set outcomes. Okay. And he said, don't set goals. Why? Because many times people set goals and they fail. Okay. And because of that, that just makes people feel, well, I'm a failure. Okay. So don't set goals, set outcomes. Say, my outcome is, by the end of the day, I would like my house to be sparkling clean. And have one key thing. And, just don't overload it, because sometimes when you overload yourself, you're setting yourself a failure. But just have one major outcome and say, what is it that I would be so disappointed in myself that if I don't do it today, I would not be happy? Or do it in another way, the positive way. What is it that if I achieve this today, I will be over the moon? And do that thing. Do the one thing that will make you proud of yourself and celebrate that win.
Okay, cool. So if I decide not to set the goal and just say, okay, that means if you say your house is got to be clean, that means you can't get out of it.
You've got to do it. Just make it the one thing that you.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. That means you can't get out when you make a statement to say, okay, today this is going to be done.
Yes.
And it means you can't get out of it. That's amazing. That is really powerful. I've never tried that. Actually, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, let me know how you get on.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I've got so many things that I need to try. But this one, I'm just gonna try it. I might even try it tomorrow morning because I like to test myself.
Yes.
And when when you test yourself with something, it works because you are learning basically to do things differently in your mind. Because when you get stuck in doing the same thing over and over, your mind becomes lazy. So this is a challenge that you are giving me a challenge.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's so many things because, sometimes when you have so many things to do, you get overwhelmed and you don't do any of it.
Yeah,
what would it one thing that I'll be really happy for myself to do today? And then just focus all your attention on doing it. When you achieve that, then you can move on to another thing.
That is so true. Thank you so much. And Dr. Bigot, what are some ways to be more resilient if someone wants to build this unshakable and more and more and more? Maybe even like when I'm talking about love, I talk about unconditional love. Then I talk about in the Bible, and then when you open the floodgate of love. So if that person wants to build more and more, so what advice can you give that person?
Absolutely. Thank you, Numsa. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes we need to start from the basic steps, but as we grow, we love to be able to be even more. And a couple other tips for us to be able to be even more resilient. One of them is, and I mentioned both of this in my newest book, Seeking Peace. In more detail, but one of them is actually to have fun and laugh. The study has shown that people who are able to relax and to actually de-stress on regular basis, not just on when you are already stressed out, but to de-stress and relax and recharge. All of us is like oil lamp. And so if we remember to refill our own oil on regular basis such that we don't run out. And then we will be able to, when something happens, we continue to shine. We don't run out, and we have reserve, so to say. It's not you already almost burn out. Something happened and you can't refill, and you just go, go and turn off. But then we will be able to have fun, to laugh, because that's actually, we know study shows it's good for us physically as well as emotionally, and to de-stress on regular basis, recharge on regular basis. And then the other thing is on regular consistent basis, and particularly when we're having a tough time, to be what I call to be a heart with ears, to be a heart with ears and open hands. And that when we notice that we do something that we prefers not happening, or we are not achieving the outcome we would love, to just be kind, to listen, to look at ourselves and listen to ourselves with kindness, not saying, oh, stupid you don't do this today. Oh, look at you, what a loser. It's not doing any of that, and say, okay, you tried your very best and it didn't happen. And then also to have an open hand, which is to reach out, to call a friend, to call a support, to reach out to everyone in this group who are an expert in this, and to say, I would love some help, but also reaching out with an open hand, not a gripping hand. Because what the difference is, when we reach out with an open hand, say we call a friend and say, we need a support, I need to talk to you, with you, and if we have a gripping hand, we have in mind, okay, I want to talk with this person for at least 15 minutes, and the friends only have 10 minutes, you'll get disappointed, and then you'll feel even worse. On the other hand, I just want somebody to talk, whether they have 3 minutes or whether they have 30 minutes. I'm grateful and happy for either of them. And so that's what being a heart with ears and open hand as well.
Thank you so much. I was listening to the audio of Nissa Nicholson yesterday. She is talking about the same thing as well, what you're saying. She's saying you have to have clarity in everything that you do, even your friendship with friends and family, because she was talking about how she had this friend, and she said having a relationship with their girlfriend was meeting up once a month, having fun and catching up, and talking about the good things that have been happening, and asking her friend if there's anything she could help. But her friend had different ideas. So her friend had the ideas of seeing her every day. So she said every time they meet up, and the friend will get upset, she'll be grumpy, and she couldn't understand it until she realized actually the expectations. So she had to explain to her friend the relationship, that she appreciates them being friends, and she had to explain to her that, to me, I expected to meet you at this time because I'm very, very busy. I travel around the world, so I can't have time all the time. But it doesn't mean that I love you less. I love you more than you realize. So she was saying you have to clarify your friendship with people, or whatever you do. There's got to be some boundaries, and you have to make sure that you know what's going on and the other person knows what is going on. And which gives me to come to Ihu. How can one be resilient in their families and relationships? So this is what she was talking about yesterday. So Could you please go deep in this one?
Okay. Resilience in families and relationships. Like you're saying.
Okay, internet. Do you want to step in, Dr. Bigot?
Relationship, for me, the basics of any relationship are love and respect. Okay, so as long as those two things, and understanding as well, so as long as those things are there, then you can move from there. Okay, so you need to understand that your expectations are not the same as somebody else's, because that is a different person altogether. The way they think is different. Their challenges are different. And you need to, and again, communication is the bridge that bridges those two different viewpoints of life. So you always have to communicate. You always have to communicate where you're coming from and where they're coming from. And then you have that understanding of each, what each other's expectations are, and you're able to meet them, or you're able to communicate at what point that you can meet those expectations, and then hopefully that other person will understand where you're coming from. So all these things are dynamics that one has to basically bring in the relationship. And in terms of being resilient in the relationship. So yeah, relationships, you and I know they're very, very complicated, because you're not just dealing with yourself, you're now dealing with somebody else. But we're not islands, we all know that we're not islands, and we have to relate with each other. We have to relate with our family. We have to relate with our partner, the person that we live with. And it's always a work in progress. It's never just like that and just okay. You always need to, the relationship is always evolving, and you always coming through levels of understanding. And sometimes, again, like Bridget was saying, in Mandarin, crisis is opportunity, and what was the other one? Opportunity and chaos or something.
Danger.
Dr. Bridget said.
Danger and
Sorry?
opportunity. Danger and opportunity.
An opportunity. So sometimes in relationships, you do clash, and that clash is a little bit like, it's like that kind of crisis mode sometimes. And then from that clash, you have a new understanding and a new level in that relationship. Now, let's take marriage, which is the ultimate, relationship that one can have on earth, because it's two people relating on a constant basis, living together. You're sharing every single thing. You're sharing your life. You're sharing your finances. You're sharing your decoration, every space, your bed, everything. And that is the most challenging relationship with another person that we can actually have. It's not the same as children, because you can just tell the children what to do and they would do it. And if they don't, then you need to go to parenting school, do something, but you should be able to tell your children what to do, and they do it. With another human being, it is very, very, very challenging. And that is why a lot of people are finding it challenging in lockdown, because you can't just tell your partner what to do. They've got their own will, they've got their own mind, they've got their own background, training, everything, and is different to you. So that's where respect comes in. You need to really respect each other and where they're coming from. And sometimes you have to agree to disagree. Sometimes you have to meet halfway. You have to meet each other halfway and compromise and say, okay, well, this situation is something that I give a little and you give a little, and we come to this understanding and we move forward from there. So that is so important in having a resilient relationship. I mean, you need to understand that it's not always going to be perfect. And I think having that maturity and mindset can build resilience as well. So that understanding that it's not always going to be fairy tale. We need to move on as adults. We need to discuss things. So not having things like silent treatment, you're not going to get anywhere with not talking to each other. It's going to, the gap between you two is going to just grow longer, grow wider for longer. And that does not help anyone. So my advice always, to have a resilient relationship, always communicate, no matter what. Even if you're really angry with your spouse, no matter what, even if you think it's not your fault, go and speak with them, because guaranteed the other person will have a completely different point of view that you never even thought about. And that will give you an understanding of where they're coming from. So for me, I think communication is the key to a resilient relationship.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I agree with you when you say it's like you enter someone's life, you're trying to tell them what to do. So for me, I always I always look at myself for the things that I love to do. And I imagine, can you imagine my man trying to change me? That would destroy me completely. So honestly, that's how I cope with life. Every time I'm about to do something, I always put myself in that person's shoe and say, if I was trying to do this. I remember one day when, because I love sports, and I'm trying to, and I tell him that I really, really love sports. And then I went to watch wrestling WWE live. And the poor man is sitting next to me. I'm screaming, and everyone in the arena, they're screaming, they're screaming, they're screaming. And then I'm watching him. The poor guy doesn't know what to do. And then we got to football pitch because I really, really love sports. I'm like screaming, and everyone else is screaming because you have the VIP. So we are all sitting with all these VIP. And when you are screaming, there's no such thing as VIP and being cool. So we are all screaming, and it's like, what the hell is going on? So it's like, okay, I can come once a year, but not every week. I was like, cool, that's fine. So imagine somebody trying to enter your life, and it's a pleasure. It's something because it's something that you have to step aside and just enjoy it on your own. For me, it's something that I love. It's something that makes me happy. So when you are saying that, is you can't control. You can tell children. You can try to tell children what to do. But with mine, I used to, but now I can't because technology. Now, when I try to tell them what to do, they say, "Mommy, do you remember what you said before that people have choices?" So at the moment I'm doing my homework, could you please wait until I'm finished? So in that way, I have nothing to say to them. So I just have to say, okay.
Yes.
So thank you so much. It's something I think we need to do the resilience, unshakeable resilience, part 2 as well, so you guys can go deep.
Yes.
What do you have any points, Dr. Bickett, that you want to add with what Ihu just said?
Well, thank you. I love what Ihu says, having basically, particularly when it's with a family, interactions with friends and family, to have clarity, communications, and boundary. And I would say, for me too, the way I approach it as well, in addition to that, is to remember the fingerprints. I say the fingerprints method. If you know that everybody has every person in general has different combinations of fingerprints, such that your combinations of fingerprints, Nooms, is different than mine and different than Ihu. And so that means we are all meant to be different. And even if you look closely at your own fingerprints, all 10 fingers, they're a little bit different. So even moment to moment, even as you think you know somebody, moment to moment, the persons might be different. And that's why you kind of expect for this other person, whomever, whether it's your spouse, your children, your parents, or your friends, that they are different from us. They're not always has to be 100% what we love. Like you said, we might enjoy sport and the ball game once a year instead of every week, and so forth. So everybody's different, and moment to moment, even as we learn to say, you're like, okay, I've lived with this person, my spouse, for 27 years. So I think I know the person, but moment to moment, the person's different. And so if today he or she behave a little differently, remember, moment to moment, every fingerprint's different. And so and just come from there that it's all different and it's all unique and wonderful. There is no bad fingerprints. It's all just unique and wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to come to you, Ihu. Is there anything that you want to leave with our audience before we go?
Yeah, I think I would just like to add in terms of the relationship aspect, because we're so different. I mean, we all know we are different, as Dr. Bridget has said, even us, from one moment to the other. One day we're feeling over the moon, on top of the world. Next day, we just don't want to do anything. Sometimes it does happen, okay? So just think about it in terms of two different people. And one way to really try and get that foundation right is to really make sure that you're compatible. And that is all about the foundation. Look at the compatibility. Remove the scales from your eyes when you fall in love. I mean, yes, you know, love, we fall in love and that person is so wonderful and fantastic and great. But take a step back, if at all possible, and look at what is their background, what is their upbringing, you know, what have they gone through, because that will always come back in a long-term relationship. You know, what is their spiritual understanding? Are we spiritually compatible? Are we emotionally compatible? You know, things like just different things. What are our likes? What is it that I can tolerate now, but later on, if I actually live with you, I would not be able to stand? And it's very difficult to do at the start of a relationship because you're just in love and you just can't see all these things. But those are the things that matter in a long-term relationship. So having a step back and really taking a very pragmatic approach on that, I think that's really, really key.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ihu. Dr. Bigot, anything you want to leave with our audience? And Eva, thank you. Eva says great discussion, girls. So thank you, Eva. Anything you want to leave with our audience, Dr. Bigot?
Thank you, Numsa. Yes, I think the one thing that a lot of time we know but underestimates the power is truly to have fun. To have fun and to laugh, it's good for our mind, our body. You know, if you laugh, it's even if you want to have good, strong abs. If you laugh a lot, you feel your abs hurt, and it's actually kind of like an exercise. So laughing and having fun is really, really something that many times we underestimate, but it's so wonderful, so useful to help us in many, many ways, including being more resilient.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. For me, I'm going to leave my audience with the resilience comes from the know-how. So these words, know-how, is everywhere. I go to Andy Harrington's event, he will be saying know-how. And I go to Desmond O'Connor, every speaker, and Dr. Bigot, every speaker, you were speaking at Sharon's event, all the speakers were mentioning know-how, and the determination, positive emotions you have inside of you as well. And also our audience that are watching, these experts have given you guys some tips. You and only you alone are responsible for building that road to fulfill that joy, that purpose, that existence in this world. So like Ihu was saying, who have I been called to be? Who have you been called to be? That you need to ask yourself. And Dr. Bigot was saying the world basically is responding to us. What message are you getting when the world is responding to you? Because the world wants to help you. So are you willing to respond positive? So thank you so much, guys. We will be here next Thursday. If you want to get in touch with Dr. Bigot, please, she's gonna leave her details on the video. You guys can get in touch with her, or if you wanna get in touch with her through Legacy Wealth Talk, even if you feel like, okay, I'm not sure what to do, but I need to take the next step regarding my life. Just do it. Just go for it. And Ihu as well, she's gonna leave her details, guys. If you want to get in touch with her, you can get in touch with her. If you guys can leave your website as well on the details. Is there anything coming up, books or anything, or any events?
Yeah, actually, it's funny that we're talking about resilience because I talked to you about the building the excellent family. And the theme that we do as part of Cedar Cube, we started last year. And the theme for this year is changing times.
Okay.
And resilience is really key in the changing times. So we look at things like education. How do you deal with education for your children in these changing times? How about building your wealth, relationships, and also, you know, health and spirituality. So we'll have, it's like a panel talk. So it'll be like a panel of 3 or 4 experts in each area, and they will be giving tips and everything to help in all those areas, and that will help in building resilience, which is something that we all really need. Tips, you know. There's so many quotes even from last time that I'm getting, you know, I'm kind of like listening to the audios again, and I'm just saying, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense, that's good. So these are things that would help. Sorry, I forgot to add as well, on the last day, it talks about purpose and spirituality.
Okay, so this event, is it online, or is it virtual events, or is it in person?
It's all virtual. It's all virtual.
So yeah, so if you have the link, please, can you put the link on the video as well? Okay. And or in the group, you can put the links in the group so people know, because the people that are watching here, Legacy Wealth Talk, they're in our groups as well. So if you can put that link, I want the link as well, please, on WhatsApp. Yeah. Send me the link so I can put the date on my diary. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's on the 6th to the 8th of November.
Oh, okay, end of November.
Yeah, it's 6th to the 8th, so it's the weekend, okay. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. I mean.
Okay. I'll send it.
Dr. Bigger, do you have anything going on at the moment, or?
Sure. Yes, thank you for asking, Numsa. One thing that I will bring to attention is my newest book here, Seeking Peace, the proven 5 fingers method to thrive through changes effortlessly. And in there, we share the tips that help us be more resilient, such that not only we're able to survive through changes and challenge, but we're actually able to thrive through the whole process. And so the book is available on Amazon.com, in UK Amazon, as well as from my website directly. Particularly if you want a signed copy, go to my website directly. It's from grieving to joyful living.com, which I'll put in on the comments.
Yeah, put the link, please. Thank you so much. You put the link. Thank you so much, girls. If anyone wants to get through to Legacy Wealth to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with me and Tarini. We're basically doing different interviews now, evenings, and I'm still doing 1 o'clock, or hopefully I'm gonna seduce her to come back to 1 o'clock. So thank you so much. And live with grace, everyone.
Thank you, Namsa. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bridget. Thank you.